Hey guys, another Sunday vlog. I'm not sure if I'm going to combine this with the previous one, but whatever. We'll see how long it goes. So I just wanted to cover a couple things. I have some notes here on my trusty pad. And one of the notes, I wanted to mention a psych tip, a psychological tip. As some of you know, I studied psychology in university. I am not a clinical psychologist, not even close. I only did a couple of years and I left school to start my first business. But nonetheless, I keep my hands in it, if you will, because it's very important that you understand how your brain works. I gave you tips in terms of how to more quickly learn. I talked about frequency of exposure being more important than the length of exposure, but you can go watch that video. So in this quick little video, I just want to talk about the primary influencer of our brains. The first and foremost is fear. Fear is the number one influencer in our brains. Our brains are literally designed to pay much more attention to potential dangers than anything else. And that kind of makes sense if you think of it in an evolutionary way, because if you're killed by some predator or by falling off rocks, a mountain or something, that's more important than whether you eat that day or you pick up, right? It's such an important thing. So what has happened rather, is our brains have now become hypersensitive, or much more sensitive to fear than anything else. So that's why you see a lot of times when people are trying to make sales, when politicians are trying to drive you, they try to use fear because they know, they consult with psychologists, behavioral psychologists, they know that fear is one of the biggest drivers. So depending on the circumstances, you can use fear in politics, they use it all the time. And in other circumstances, you can't. So just an FYI, just be aware of that. Be aware that in your own life, your personal anxieties, anxieties are an extension of your fears, they are typically exaggerated. Typically, most of the time, your brain will artificially give more power to a potential danger or a fear and anxiety that it really deserves. It's really a crazy thing. And even though I know this and understand this intellectually, I have to remind myself. So for instance, when I was in my first business, actually, we'll talk about that. When I was in my first business, where I was in the import-export business, so I'm selling a product, dry goods. Dry goods are just products you sell on shelves. And livestock, rare fish and stuff that I used to sell to aquariums and zoos and collectors and high-end pet shops. What happens is you get into this mode as an entrepreneur, as a young business person. You start to worry, how did we do today with the sales? Oh, our sales are off 10% today. And you starts bothering you, even though you know that you can't really look at sales on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis. Really, you have to look at sales on a quarterly basis. That means 90-day basis. That's the only way to really discern whether or not the sales are actually going up or going down, because you can always have spikes, variations within a particular week. So for example, you may find that, hey, on Mondays, I usually make $1,000 of sales. Well, I'm just picking a round number. But all of a sudden, one Monday, you only make 800. You're going, oh no, I only made 800 today. What am I going to do? But you find out typically, okay, you don't make your normal $1,000 on the Monday, but all of a sudden on Tuesday, instead of making 1,000, you make 1,200. Or maybe you make on Tuesday 1,100, and then on Wednesday you make another 1,100, and it kind of smooths out, makes the difference. So you have to look at things a little stretched out over, again, in business. That's why if you look at the stock market, companies will report their earnings and their progress every quarter, every 3 months. A quarter is 3 months, because there's 4 times 3 months in a year. The year is divided up to 4, right? Every 3 months. Anyway, so that's why they report quarterly, because that's a much more accurate way of assessing how well a company is doing. So there you go. I hope this entrepreneur psychology lesson is of interest to you, you can apply it to every aspect of your life when you're considering things, considering what's bothering you, what's worrying you. Try to step out of yourself emotionally and try to look at something more without emotion, so you could at least better assess what it is that's going on. Now, I learned this in martial arts. I learned this a lot in boxing as well. Well, boxing is martial arts, I suppose. And one of the big breakthroughs for me in boxing was the ability to get into the ring and spar and fight. Like, we'd go at it hard, full contact. I got my nose broke twice. That's how hard we'd go. But when I was able to get in there, and not my problem was I used to get when somebody would hit me, I want to hit him back, and right away. And sometimes I get a little ticked off. Like, he hit me, eh? And that's the wrong attitude. I learned that the better fighters will try to evoke anger or fear, anxiety on their opponent, because they know if you get your opponent mad, you get them scared, you get them anxious, you get them mad, their game will diminish. Their ability to fight will actually become less effective. So good fighters will do that. That's why sometimes you see they're taunting and so on before or during, because they want to get their opponent off their game by getting them emotional. So in your business career, in your coding career, if you start getting anxiety, you start getting angry, or you start getting a little scared, you got to calm those emotions down so that you can have a stronger mind when you're looking at situations that may occur. I hope that makes sense. One of the tricks is to control your heart rate, because your body, your brain rather, will take cues about what's going on. It will get messages about what's going on based on how your body is acting. So you can use your intellectual brain to send signals back to your lizard brain to calm yourself down and to give you confidence. So one thing they've learned in psychology is the power pose, where you just stand up straight and you hold this for a minute. What they find is the brain says, hey, this guy and this girl is confident, and they start sending different chemicals into the body to feel more confident, and to feel more relaxed. And that's one way. Another way, and a lot of the old religions, and they understood this, is through breathing. Now you have all these autonomic functions in your body, right? Your heart, your liver, all this controlled non-consciously. You're not thinking, I got to make my heart beat, right? It's not like when you do this with your hand. It's automatic. It's autonomic. So the only way to control the heart intellectually is to control your breathing. You slow down your breathing, you slow down your heart rate. You slow down your heart rate, it calms down the whole body, it calms down the nervous system. It's like a feedback loop. You know, when you're nervous, your heart beats faster, right? So you breathe in slow, 2 seconds in, 1 second out, relax. So if you're starting to feel anxious, etc., just stand straight, relax, breathe slowly, slow down your heart rate, and you'll see that you'll start to calm down emotionally. And then you can make better decisions. You'll be able to handle circumstances, whether you're coding, whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever you're doing. I hope that helps. Ciao, guys.